And whether you're planning some big excursion or simply sitting in your backyard, you are surrounded by creation, and it's constantly testifying to God's handiwork. And when we stand before a mountain or watch a sunset, we aren't just seeing some scenery. We're seeing a reflection of God's own creativity and his faithfulness. After all, we're made in God's image. That means we have this urge to create, to explore, to marvel at the beauty of what he has created. And this stuff is just a direct echo of God. I want to invite you to change your lenses, to see that the world around you is an enduring masterpiece, and that you are an image bearer. You're designed to marvel at the one who spoke it all into existence. From sea to shining sea, right? We sing that song. We know that song. It's all of God's creation everywhere in between and around the world. And understand that we can trust this wild, enduring, gigantic God and discover that we are more than just something on God's bucket list. I want you to think about your summer vacation, that trip you've been planning, that destination you've been dreaming about. Maybe it's one you've already taken this year. And when you finally arrive and you stand in some place of God's creation, a mountain or at the ocean or a canyon or a forest, you realize God's presence is real and it's bigger than your imagination. But here's the beautiful thing. God doesn't just stand back and admire the view. He blesses you. He gives you gifts. You are not just some tourist passing through God's creation. You don't just arrive at a destination. You got to worship along the way. And when you're on that bucket list trip, or maybe your staycation, or you're standing at a sunset or looking at a full sky of stars, if you get the chance to be somewhere dark enough to see them all, don't just take a photo and move on. Stop and celebrate. Give thanks and praise. When you're standing at the edge of something vast and incomprehensible, that canyon that was created over millions of years ago, or an ocean that stretches beyond a horizon that you can see, here's the thing, you're going to feel small. You might wonder, does God even see me? Am I just a speck in all of this? And maybe that's what it feels like in that moment. But David says for us to remember what God has done. Remember that the same God who carved out that canyon, who created those waves that wash up on the beach over and over again, is the God who also carved you. He filled the ocean and he filled your heart. You are not small. You are remembered. But God made the heavens and the earth, and he made it good. The stars you never see in the city, the Milky Way, still stretches across the dark sky. The northern lights dance green and purple, and you see God's handiwork. David says, honor and majesty surround God. Strength and joy fill God's dwelling. But it's not a building. It's creation itself. God's enduring creation. It doesn't fade. It doesn't wear out. It doesn't get old. It endures because the one who made it endures. And when you go on one of your bucket list trips and you're standing in that forest that's been growing for centuries, or the beach where the waves have been crashing since the beginning of time, listen. Not just with your ears, but listen with that heart. Because those trees are singing, those waves are shouting, those fields are bursting into song, and they're all singing the same song of God's reign and of God's creation. Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. His faithful love endures forever. That's it. That's the whole song's destination. That's the whole bucket list. That's getting to the end of where they've always wanted to go. To be able to stand in the enduring love of God, and we do it all the time in God's creation. This is the final stop on the bucket list trip. Not a mountain, not a canyon, not a glacier. God's faithful love, and it does endure forever. So when you're planning your summer vacation, plan to see God's creation. Go to the mountains, go to the ocean, go to the forest, go to all the places, go to some far land that you've always wanted to go and experience the different foods and smells and tastes that all that God has created. Let the mountains remind you that God is bigger. Let the ocean remind you that God is deeper. Let the night skies remind you that God is vast. And let the stillness remind you that God is near. The God who made the heavens was the same God who made you. The God who fills the ocean is the same God who fills your heart. The God who plants the forest is the same God who planted you. And God's love, his faithfulness does endure. That's just not the ending of a song. That's the beginning of your summer. That's this invitation of your bucket list trip. That's the promise that your vacation is going to include God. You are more than something on God's bucket list. You're the one that God loves. And God's love endures forever.